On the outskirts of a quiet American town lived a humble mechanic named Jack Thompson. Jack owned a tiny garage that barely earned enough money to cover rent and daily expenses. Every morning before sunrise, he opened his garage doors and worked tirelessly until late at night. His clothes were always stained with grease, and his hands carried the marks of years of hard work. Despite his financial struggles, Jack had something many wealthy people lacked: kindness. Whenever someone couldn't afford a repair, Jack often charged less or fixed the problem for free. His friends constantly told him that he was too generous. "One day, your kindness will come back to you," his elderly neighbor often said. Jack would simply smile and continue working. His wife, Sarah, supported him through every challenge. They lived in a small house with their 8-year-old daughter, Emily. Life was difficult, but they stayed positive. However, business had been slow for months. Bills were piling up. The garage's rent was overdue, and Jack feared he might lose everything he had built. Little did he know that his life was about to change forever. Chapter 2. The mysterious breakdown one rainy afternoon, while Jack was cleaning tools. An expensive black luxury car suddenly rolled into his garage parking lot. The vehicle looked worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The driver stepped out, wearing a simple jacket and jeans. He didn't look rich at all. "Can you help me?" the man asked. Jack nodded. "Of course. What's the problem?" The man explained that his car had suddenly stopped working on the highway. Several repair shops had refused to help because it was late in the day. Jack inspected the vehicle carefully. After nearly 2 hours of work, he discovered a serious issue with the fuel system. The repair wasn't easy. Rain poured outside while Jack worked, tirelessly under the hood. The stranger watched, quietly. "You've been working for hours," the man said. Jack smiled. "That's my job." After several more hours, the luxury car finally started perfectly. The engine purred like new. The stranger looked amazed. "You fixed it?" Jack nodded. "Looks like you're good to go," the man asked. "How much do I owe you?" Jack paused. Then he looked at the tired traveler. "Nothing." The stranger looked shocked. "What do you mean, nothing? You looked stranded." "Sometimes people need help. Consider it a good deed." The man stared at Jack for several seconds. Then he smiled. "Thank you." Without saying another word, he drove away. Jack never expected to see him again. Chapter 3. Hard times. Weeks passed. Business remained slow. Jack's financial situation became worse. One evening, Sarah sat at the kitchen table reviewing bills. "We only have enough money for another month," she said softly. Jack felt his heart sink. Emily noticed her parents' worried faces. "Dad, is everything okay?" Jack forced a smile. "Everything will be fine." But deep inside, he wasn't sure. The next day, the landlord visited the garage. "If rent isn't paid soon, I'll have no choice." Jack understood what that meant. He worked harder than ever, hoping for a miracle. Yet, no miracle came. Or so he thought. Chapter 4. The Unexpected Invitation. 3 weeks later, a black limousine arrived outside Jack's garage. Several people in business suits stepped out. Jack immediately wondered if something was wrong. One of them approached. "Are you Jack Thompson?" "Yes. Our employer would like to meet you." Jack looked confused. "Who is your employer?" The man smiled. "You'll find out." Curiosity got the better of him. He agreed. The limousine drove him nearly an hour to a massive corporate headquarters in the city. Jack had never seen anything like it. The building seemed to touch the clouds. Inside, employees moved through elegant hallways. Eventually, he entered a luxurious office on the top floor. When the office chair turned around, Jack froze. It was the same man whose luxury car he had repaired. The stranger smiled. "Good to see you again." "Jack?" Jack couldn't believe his eyes. "Who are you?" The man extended his hand. "My name is Richard Harrison." Jack's jaw dropped. Richard Harrison was one of America's most successful billionaires. He owned multiple companies worth billions of dollars. Jack had seen him on television countless times, but he never imagined he had fixed his car. Chapter 5. The Billionaire's Secret Test. Richard invited Jack to sit down. "Do you know why I asked you here?" Jack shook his head. Richard smiled. "For years, I've been searching for people I can trust." Jack listened carefully. Richard continued. "That day, my car breakdown wasn't entirely accidental." Jack looked surprised. Richard explained that he occasionally traveled without revealing his identity. He wanted to see how ordinary people treated strangers. Most people changed their behavior when they discovered he was wealthy. But Jack had no idea who he was. Yet he spent hours helping him and refused payment. "You expected nothing in return," Richard said. "That's rare." Jack remained speechless. Richard then opened a folder. Inside were photographs and reports. Private. Investigators had spent weeks learning about Jack. They discovered his generosity, honesty, and reputation throughout the town. Everyone described him the same way: man with a good heart. Chapter 6. An incredible offer. Richard leaned forward. "I have a proposal." Jack listened. "I want to invest in your future." Jack frowned. "What do you mean?" Richard smiled. "I'm going to pay off every debt you have." Jack nearly fell from his chair. "What?" "I'm also buying your garage." Jack's heart raced. Richard raised a hand. "Not to take it away from you." He smiled. "I'm giving it back to you." Jack couldn't believe what he was hearing. Richard continued. "I want you to own the largest auto repair center in this region." Tears filled Jack's eyes. This can't be real. But it was. Richard had already prepared legal documents. The investment totaled several $1,000,000. Jack's entire life changed in a single afternoon. Chapter 7. A New Beginning. Construction began immediately. Within months, the small garage transformed into a state-of-the-art automotive center. The town couldn't believe it. Customers traveled from neighboring cities. Jack hired mechanics who needed jobs. He offered fair wages and excellent working conditions. Business flourished. For the first time in years, Jack could breathe without worrying about bills. Sarah cried when she saw the finished facility. Emily proudly told her friends about her father. Yet despite his success, Jack remained the same humble mechanic. He still greeted every customer personally. He still helped people who couldn't afford repairs. Money had changed his circumstances. It had not changed his character. Chapter 8. Giving back 1 year later. Jack's company became one of the most respected automotive businesses in the state. Profits continued growing. Then Jack made a decision. He created a community assistance program. Single parents, veterans, and struggling families could receive free vehicle repairs. The program helped hundreds of people. Local newspapers began covering his story. Television stations featured interviews. People admired not only his success but also his generosity. Richard Harrison watched proudly. His investment had produced something greater than profit. It had created hope. Chapter 9. The Reunion. 2 years later, Richard returned to visit. The town organized a celebration. Hundreds of people gathered. Jack stood before the crowd and shared his story. He explained how one act of kindness had changed everything. Then he looked toward Richard. "You gave me an opportunity." Richard smiled. Jack continued, "But what changed my life wasn't your money." The audience listened closely. "It was the lesson you taught me." Richard nodded. "And what lesson was that?" Jack smiled. "Kindness is never wasted." The crowd erupted into applause. Chapter 10. The legacy. Years passed Jack's eye. Business expanded to multiple locations. Hundreds of employees worked for him. His daughter Emily eventually joined the company. The family that once struggled to pay bills now helped thousands of people. But the story never became about money. It became about character. A mechanic helped a stranded stranger without expecting anything in return. A billionaire recognized genuine kindness, and together, they proved that a single good deed can create a ripple effect that changes countless lives. Every customer who entered Jack's repair centers could see a framed message hanging on the wall. Success is measured not by what you earn, but by how many lives you improve. And underneath it was another simple sentence: always help people when you can. You never know whose life you're changing, or who might change yours. Ending narration. Sometimes the greatest opportunities arrive disguised as ordinary moments. A stranger. A broken car. A simple act of kindness. Most people spend their lives waiting for miracles, but sometimes the miracle begins when you choose to help someone without expecting anything in return, because kindness has a way of coming back when you least expect it. And for Jack Thompson, one free repair became the beginning of an extraordinary life. The end.